Okay, so we are here again on the Ronald Doodle channel on YouTube, and today's exciting episode is named Consent. And this is very fucking important because I've been thinking about this, and at this point, the entire issue of consensual crime, or even whether something can be a crime that is consensual at all, it has to be addressed. Because our country has millions, tens of millions of people that have been, at least had a fine, or are now behind bars or have been behind bars due to a drug violation, whether possession, use thereof, intent to distribute, or stealing because they can't get their addiction filled because the prices are artificially inflated because there's a drug war. You know, and these people that fight for this so hard, first of all, they're liars and charlatans because they're all fucking politicians and lawyers. They don't care about anything other than their own personal ambition. When someone has an ambition to improve their self in the world, and that itself is their ambition, you cannot trust them to do anything right. You can't entrust someone to go to Washington who's this huge lawyer whose sole purpose in life is to be known. I am this guy. I am so fucking important. And this is who I am. If that's your intention, if that is your ambition, is to be me, only everybody listens to me and shit, then you can't be an effective leader. You can't be an effective politician because politicians have to be led by ideas. That's the only way they can even remotely be good, and they always fail even in that case. So how do you fucking expect people who don't even care about ideas, who don't even care about people other than themselves, to be good leaders? It's impossible. So what they do is they tag themselves to these movements made by basically morons, intellectual fucking apes. You know what I'm saying? They're not. They have this knee-jerk reaction. I don't want these hippies. Or even something more emotional than that. Maybe their fucking brother died of a heroin addiction or something like that. I'll make it completely real on their side. Their brother died of a heroin addiction, so they want heroin to be illegal. They want it to be taxed and regulated. No, they don't want it to be taxed and regulated. They want it to be completely illegal. They want everyone involved in the trade to be thrown into prison, and that's how they want it to be fought. But guess what, people? You cannot legislate morality to anyone. Period. This is not another moral. This is not another ideal I'm adding. I'm just telling you the truth. This is just the reality of life is you can't legislate morality to anyone. Let's say a woman is a meth addict. Let's say she goes to the store and buys Sudafed so that she could turn it into meth, and she fucking smokes that meth and just fucking has a grand old time in her idea. Really, she's frying her brain. I'm not pro-drugs. Just hear me out. Okay, so now she's got a meth addict, and now they lock up all the Sudafed at the store. Okay? She can't go to the store to just buy meth, so she goes to a dealer. And this dealer's a real shady fucking asshole, and he says, if you suck my diseased cock, you can have some meth. So she sucks his cock of this diseased guy, who's total shady character, and she gets her meth and she smokes it and she goes out of her mind again. So society apparently views the solution to this problem to throw her in prison. Let's just throw her in prison. That'll solve the problem, right? Let's punish her for the wrong she's doing to herself. Somehow people have gotten it in their mind that hurting someone for hurting themselves will get them to stop hurting themselves. That's really stupid. That doesn't make any sense at all. Hurting someone for hurting themselves is not going to get them to stop hurting themselves. Ever. That's not like if you get your son cutting himself, if you go in there and just smash his head with a goddamn hammer, that's not going to be a great motive for him to stop cutting himself. That's not going to be, that's not an effective solution. When they are masochistic, fundamentally, then pain isn't going to be the way to get him out of it. Okay? So these people, this woman, this theoretical woman, she smokes her meth. She sucks the cock. So she's a cock-sucking, meth-smoking prostitute now. And she's now in jail. So what has society done to alleviate her problem? Nothing. They've given her a criminal record, which means she can't get a job. Which means she couldn't work to purchase the meth that she would be buying anyway because it's what she wants to do, and she'll even suck a dirty ass cock to do it. Okay? So she can't work a job anymore because now she's got a criminal record. Okay, so she turns to a life of crime. She ends up back in prison. Now, when she's in prison, what does she do? Can anyone tell me? I'm pretty sure she smokes meth, because there's plenty of meth in prison. I know this. I've talked to people from prison. I've worked in a jail. Okay, so there's plenty of meth in prison. And what happens if you catch someone smoking meth in prison? Well, you add to their sentence by making them spend more time in prison, where the meth is. You can't legislate against consensual crimes and win. You can't. From a fundamental, realistic point of view, all you are doing is profiting off of the weakest member of the criminal trade. Okay? So you put all these people in prison, and the state makes money by doing this, by arresting people, by forming legal teams that advocate for people to fucking get arrested. You know, they raise money for candidates and campaigns that say, I'm going to make meth illegal. And I chose meth on purpose because I think it's the most disgusting and despicable drug that anyone knows of. In the Americas anyway. People do not have a good image of meth. But I chose it as an example because what happens when someone is smoking meth anyway? They're doing it anyway. You can't stop them. They're a free human being and it's a consensual crime. It's impossible to stop them. Fucking people in communist China smoke meth. Except they get executed for doing it. Because apparently it's okay to advocate for your government to kill people, but not for you to smoke meth if you want to. That's the logic that these political thinkers have that are trying to fucking alleviate not social issues, but just the people that are bitching at them because they're too stupid to understand that what they're proposing isn't even a solution to the problem. It adds to the problem. Because now the woman is not just a meth addict, she's also a prisoner. You didn't make her life any better. You made her life fucking worse. You made everybody's life worse when they're on drugs and you throw them in jail. You don't make their lives fucking better. Now they're in a place where they get raped and they get beaten up. They're in a place where they can't trust the cops because the cops are dirty. Alright? You can't, all that you teach them is you can't trust anyone. You reinforce their negative values by fucking prosecuting them for consensual crimes. You reinforce people's negative values and their hatred and their fucking contempt and their distrust of other people. That's all that you can do. You can't get yourself out of it. Our society is built that once you're in the criminal system, you are fucked for the rest of your life. That's it. So, I propose a moderate reform compared to some of my contemporaries, which is just make everything legal that's consensual for adults. If you've reached sexual maturity, if you're 18 years old, once you can vote, you can do anything you want. And you don't face any artificial consequences for it. If it is a real issue, if it is something that shouldn't be done by a human being, then there will be natural consequences for it. There's natural consequences to being an addict. First of all, death. You die. There's a consequence. There's more natural consequences to it. You run out of money. No one trusts you and wants to be around you. So if you understand what I'm saying, if it really is a crime of spirit, then there are natural consequences to it which will make that person change their behavior instead of adding to the problem itself. I am not excusing what I would consider to be poor judgment. I would not shoot heroin. I would not smoke meth. Probably wouldn't do any drugs anymore that are illegal, currently illegal. But that's not the point. The point is that making them illegal and throwing people in jail for them is adding to their problems, not helping it. You do not have a moral argument for having drugs be illegal. There is no moral argument for it because you are not doing a moral act. You are hurting someone. You are not helping them. When you fucking throw the cuffs on them and put them in jail, that hurts them. It does not help them. It makes them less trusting of you, society, the member of society that you are. It makes them hate you because they didn't do anything to you, but you threw them in jail for hurting themselves. So you hurt them more. You understand? Can you wrap your mind around that? Okay. Consent. Thank you.